Barrett Village.
V's Cafe.
And Buju's Place in Charlestown.
In St. Kitts, tickets are sold at Mohan Tire Shop at Needmouth.
BCA on Central Street.
And Fashion 2020 at 4th Street, Basse-Terre.
Remember the date. Saturday evening, August 8, 2026 at Clark's One Stop Gingerland.
See you there.
It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Every Tuesday. The choice of the people leading the way. For the people. By the people. By the people. By the people. Loud and clear. The people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here.
It's 11:17 right here in the studios of Freedom FM. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the People's Choice. Thank you for joining us as we continue to introduce you to people whose experience, service, and leadership continue to shape the nation's conversation in St. Kitts and Nevis. Today's program will be a little bit different, but we'll start out by introducing former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis and political leader of the People's Labour Party, Dr. the Honourable Timothy Harris. Welcome back, Dr. Harris. How are you?
Thank you very much, Remy. I'm fine, and I want to wish everyone tuning in a wonderful day. And again, to say thanks to Freedom Radio for allowing us this opportunity to dialogue with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you so much for being here. So, Dr. Harris, today you have brought a guest, and at this point in time, I'll invite you to introduce your guest to our listeners. It's his first time here on Freedom FM.
Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to introduce someone who I've known for a very long period of time. And I am happy to be part of the People's Labour Party's family. The person is none other than Calvin Pemberton, a resident of East Barstow, and he's presently serving as the chairperson for the PLP branch in number 1.
Okay. Mr. Pemberton, thank you so much for being here. Today is an opportunity to get to know the man behind the professional accomplishments, his journey, his values, his service, his experience, and we welcome you to the People's Choice. So we know that the program usually goes by very quickly, so we want to get started just as quickly. So let's start with you, Mr. Pemberton. Tell us a little bit about your portfolio, what your profession is.
Thank you very much, Jamie, and to Freedom FM for having me here this morning with Dr. Harris, the leader of the People's Labour Party. It's a pleasure for me being here, and it is my first time, and I hope it will not be the last. As Dr. Harris said, that I am currently the chairman of constituency number 1, East Barstow PLP group. I have been in this position for about 2 years now, and I have found myself getting to know the folks in East Barstow very well. They have welcomed me, invited me, and have expressed best wishes to me serving as the chair for the People's Labour Party. In regards to being my profession, but before that, if you can permit me to speak about myself somewhat, who I am and where I grew up, I would like to share with the audience listening today that I grew up in Boardwalk in the early days when Boardwalk was known as Bullseye. That's how far along. It was in the days...
I think that's a little bit before my time.
Yes,
I've never heard about that name.
It would serve as a bit of history lesson to the younger folks. It was a time when there was only about 3 or 4 families living in Boardwalk when I was there. Most of Boardwalk, in particular, from the Central Bank all the way up to where the athletic track is and where Barry's night bar is, and on the industrial site, all those areas were still in sugarcane.
Wow.
And later it transitioned from sugarcane to growing of peanuts, growing of watermelons, growing of cantaloupes, and growing of potatoes on a rotating basis. Those days as well, the main road to Boardwalk was dirt. He drove on dirt for many years until the road was paved at that time. The representative at the time was Paul Southwell, and he would have paved the roads probably in the late 70s, very late 70s. Yes, so I lived in Boardwalk, grew up in Boardwalk, but a lot of my time and energy was spent in the Newtown area. So I tend to, refer to myself as a Boardwalk Newtown man. In Newtown is where I did a lot of exploration in terms of being able to mingle more with a lot of folks. I attended the Newtown Primary School that used to be called the Pasture School then, and days where I would have learned most of what I am today. At this point, though, I would wish to thank the Almighty God and for those who would have had an impact upon my upbringing. In those days, there were teachers at the Tucker Clark, now the Tucker Clark Primary School, who would have been instrumental in my education and upbringing. It is not all the time that we get to say thanks to persons, who would have made that type of contribution. And teachers, they play a very vital role, and at times they need to be recognized. And I would wish to do that this morning. I recall in grade 3, my grade 3 teacher was Donna Manchester Joseph. Okay. And by the time I got to grade 5, it would have been Jovel Rogers. And then in grade 6, I had someone who probably is still known as being a staple in the Newtown and in the Pasture School area. That's in the person of Gillian Musgrave. And she was a character in a good way. She was strict, she was tough, but she was loving. She brought a lot of energy to the school, discipline to the students, and would support the children in whatever activities have been undertaken. But at the same token, when there is a necessity or the opportunity to show love and support and praise, she did that excellently. I recall her being the master for Orange House. I was in Red House, but she was the master for Orange House then, and she would have been the person instrumental in training the kids in netball, because she's an icon in this country when it comes to netball. And I recall also the Orange House. Most of us would not know. Well, I participated in track and field too at a early age. I was somewhat decent.
Decent.
I might say with a little bit of naturalness. They didn't train much or anything like that.
So you're being a little modest.
Not at any level, but at that young age, I could have hold my own, to at least place in the middle category, not that last. And I recall, no, I've never been last. I recall in grade 6A at a sports meet, in Orange House. Orange House did win, actually, but there was a young man that most of us will not think that was an athlete then, very small. We all know him as Einon, with Einon Bath. We call him, Vernon Nias, we call him Patton, now Einon. He, at his small size and scale, he tore up the track in grade 6. And if you see how Jill at the time would parade him around the field and everything, unless gone was not. So she brought that type of energy and love and competitiveness to, as it were, sports and the whole school environment.
Okay, fantastic. So you were a well-rounded student. But Dr. Harris, I want to go back to you and tell us how you first became aware, how you first met Mr. Pemberton.
Well, thank you for that. You're in fact taking me back some years.
So it's that long?
Some years ago, really, in fact, in the 1990s, middle, thereabout, I come to know Calvin. At the time, he was a young chap who was pursuing studies, from my recollection, somewhere in the United States, could have been in Florida. I believe at that time he started his program of studies in architecture. He had a curiosity, he had an interest in nation building, and he came basically, I think, inquiring what could he do, how would his skills fit in the area of work in which he was pursuing architecture and studies regarding spatial development.
And you were Minister of Government at
that time. In 1995, I was the first Minister of Agriculture, Lands and Housing under the then Labour government.
Okay.
So I was at government headquarters and he came, was introduced, etc., spoke as he does now in a very calm and clear way about his pursuits and his interest really in serving. He was very calm, very cool, very confident. And what stuck with me was that he was more interested in how could I put my skills to service in the context of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I was inspired by that. And we chit-chatted a bit. I think sometime later he would have gone off for further studies. He would have come back. And when he came back, he was assigned to my ministry as the housing officer. He was actually the first person so appointed in the Ministry of Housing, because the ministry then largely had executed its housing program to the Central Housing Authority, which later now is called the National Housing Corporation. And so the focus then was on the agriculture, the crop, the livestock, the fisheries, etc., etc. So we brought him in to make a difference because we had a vision of people empowerment through housing and land ownership. He became the point person in my ministry who one will go to get insights and to get information. And I think one of his first assignments was really to develop a housing policy, because we were doing all this talk, but what was the basis? How did it fit in the program of the government? He came up with the first housing policy for us, and we used that as a guide largely in our discussions, for example, with CDB, because we were exploring various options, various approaches to financing housing development in our country. So again, through that kind of professional engagement, I got to know him much better and really had come to rely upon his skills, his competence, the fact that he could relate to the realities of the day, and he was willing to learn and adapt to the vagaries of service in the public sector.
Okay. Now, Mr. Pemberton, you studied architecture in Miami, then you went on to Florida A&M, and later Birmingham, England. What took you on that journey, and what did you bring back home with you?
Well, from a young age, I knew that I wanted to be an architect from a very young age.
Was there a specific moment that led to that decision?
Yes, the influence and the teaching or the instruction when I got to what is now referred to as third form at the Bastia High School. I believe at the Bastia Junior High School in the Form 2, we started a bit of technical join, but then that was improved upon, became much more of a pursuit for me when I got to Bastia High School. And the teacher then was James Mulliger Kelly, so in architecture, and I had Wayland Vaughan, who was the principal at some point, who taught me woodwork. Mm-hmm. So the combination of woodwork and technical join, and coming from a construction family. My dad himself was a construction manager and did maintenance for in the public sector. He worked at the National Housing Authority in the early days. He was part of the slum clearance in Newtown and other places around the country. At NACO, he did the maintenance of all the properties for the managers and all the equipment, the repair shops, and those type of things. So that coupled together gave me that drive and that desire to pursue architecture. At an early age, I knew that. And I recall at the age of 13 having a conversation with my dad in his wood workshop, and he said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be an architect." Maybe not fully understanding, definitely not fully understanding what an architect is, but I saw it as someone who does drawing and put things together. And I said, "An architect." And his response was, "Well, you have to be good in maths." Are you good in maths? Maybe. And that was it. Never did I ask anything outside of that. But I knew at an early age I wanted to be that. Suffice to say, when I completed Bairstay High School and I went to my first job interview, it would have at NACO, National Agriculture Corporation. My dad worked at that same place. And I went and during my interview with the then personal manager, Mr. Rensford Rogers, I remember it vividly. And we go into the interview, and imagine a young man, I probably at the time was like 19, and during the interview, he said to me with a straight, smiling face, "Your dad wants you to be a priest."
Oh, really?
Yes, really. And all I could do, imagine in an interview, I don't think it was impolite or rude, but all I could do in my own way was laugh. So I laughed, and he said, "Yes, your dad wants you to be a priest."
I can actually see that.
Well, that belief or that desire of that thinking has daunted me forever.
Really?
Yes, in the church, I'm a staunch Anglican, so I believe in my faith, and I worship and serve regularly in the church. I am a part of a number of things in the church, and from time to time, different people would say, "Oh, we have you to be a priest," and most of the time,
and you have actually presented the sermon 1 or 2 times as well.
Well, I would have spoken. I did not even recognize at one time that now the late Dean Smitten.
Yes.
He probably was. Yes, you're an Anglican too, so you were there.
I was.
Was molding me, but he too did not say anything. As a young man, and I was the scout leader there, and we were celebrating, I think, our first anniversary after it became bigger than when they had a couple Cub Scout. And we were celebrating, so the scouts was allowed to participate fully in the service. And I said, well, I'm going to speak to, by then I probably was 20 or 21, I'll speak to the congregation during the sermon time. And lo and behold, I showed up and Dean Smitten put me on the pulpit to speak. I went, I did my little thing, and that was that. I recall when I came down, my dad said to me, that Smitten was saying, you see him, you see him, you see him? They have their own thoughts, but I was not pushed or pressured. I don't normally allow myself to be pushed or pressured into anything. I'm a bit more deliberate, take my time, say few words, people talk, and I just listen. Maybe they think I'm not paying attention because I don't respond in a particular way. If I respond at all, my response most of the time is silence. I just look. You know, and there are other times during the ordination of a priest, I'm sitting in the back pew, right at the back, and the procession is taken, well, the preparation for the procession, they're coming down the northern aisle, the bishop and the clergy, everybody, because it was Reverend Francis, Alex Francis. He was being ordained, and I show up to all of these things. And as they're coming down, Smitten again is gesturing with his lips and his hands. You should be here. You should be here. He said, you know. But that was that. But
So
that,
would you say that strong belief in God and faith led to you wanting to be of service to the nation?
It's a bit more than that. My upbringing at home and the type of organization that I had been a part of, the Boy Scout movement in particular, and doing the church and Sunday school and all those type of things. When I was growing up, I had to do 3 different Sunday schools on Sunday. Did not have a problem with that, because most of the time, then you get back to Boardwalk, what you do other than play with your brothers, you have the time, not much people up there. But as it grew out, then, you can do most other things. On Sundays, in those days, there is no noise and what we call the Quelbe music and so on. So, but, boy, we still go out and we play. And we do those things. So maybe one of the things that I recall that has dawned on me in the Scout movement, the Scout motto is be prepared. And then there's an oath, and an oath that says, if I can repeat it correctly, on my honor, I promise to do my best to God and to country, to help other people at all times, and to keep the Scout law. So when you look back, all these things maybe, according to how you're framing your question, probably stem from those things. But I purposely wanted to do public service because upon my return from studies the first time, I had opportunity to be in the private sector, but I chose to be in the public sector for one reason or the other. I wanted to serve in the public. But my journey and my sojourn to universities, I started in Miami in Florida. There was convenient for me. I had a sister in Miami. So in relation to the cost and financing, that was a help. And I also went to community college first. And I probably always believe that I can outthink a system, if so to speak. I would have graduated in 2 years with some 84 credit hours. For an associate degree, you only really need 62. But I say, wow, finance is an issue. I don't know if I'm going to have all this money. Let me do as many credits as possible so that when I go on to a 4-year institution, then I don't have to do that. Not understanding at the time, outsmart myself, as I said, that you can only get credit for 62 hours. And when you transfer to a university, incidentally in Florida, because I still home and close further up at FAMU, then most of those went for naught. But I was able to do the 84 credit hours in 2 years, because at times, I tend to do my work. There are times when I did 19 credit hours, and the 16 is a full time, and there was a time when I did 26 credit hours.
26?
All the advisor will ask, because they kind of see, they're looking at the job, if you're capable, if you can, and say, you sure you can do it? And I say, yes. And they just say, okay, and they approve it. But those things have to be approved. So those things happen. So then I did, at Florida International, I completed the bachelor's in architectural design. Then I went on to FAMU, Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University in Tallahassee, Florida, the capital of Florida, that is. And I did a master's in architecture. And after that master's, I was on study leave then. I came back home and I was placed different place in the government service. And then in 2005, I was prompted and made to go to do a program. They gave me the government at the time gave me an option: do project management or construction management. And I decided I would do construction management. I had to find a university where that could have been accomplished in a year. So I went to the University of Birmingham in Birmingham, England, and I completed that. At both universities, in Birmingham and in Tallahassee, I had professors who actively encouraged me and invited me to stay. They would have secured places for me to work.
But
and
you
I told
chose to
them,
come home.
No, I'm coming home. So I did that, and I got back home. I was at Public Works then. I then became the director of Public Works, and I guess the rest is history.
And now you're the chairman for
Now
Constituency 1 for the
Constituency 1.
People's Labour Party. Dr. Harris, I'm going to come back to you because I want to ask you what kind of chairman is Mr. Pemberton? Do you think he does a good job in the post?
I'm punctual. Always on time. And I do not like tardiness, to believe.
What I would say that from my experience working with him, his competence, his ability, diligence to duty, and so on, and other knowledge that I had of him, I thought that this was an excellent person, that he would bring a level of organization to a constituency we will win, and that his skills, his manner of doing things would all augur well for success. And I spoke with him. I think like most persons coming from the background he came and from which I also came, Labour, we understood that the country needed a different path and a new direction, and that we needed people who will say, I will take on this challenge. And so I invited him, the constituency leadership approved of him, and then it went on to the general membership, because we have these structures within the constituency, and they voted without dissent for him to take up the challenge of leadership. He came to the position not as a novice, because I was aware that he had worked in the campaign for Asim Martin way back then, and so he had some knowledge of it. And perhaps more importantly, I know that he was well organized. And we were about rebuilding. I should say building, because in a sense we had not built out effectively in that constituency, having regard to the umbrella under which we had been working. So 2022 was the first time we contested as a party in that seat. And so we brought in him to help with the organization, provide the leadership, and to help with the build-out of the structure. And that's why I would say that he started, he got into it, and he has now become an exceptional chairman, in my view, in terms of the deliverables that we have been able to accomplish. You would note that, for example, last year we had a fantastic, was it last year or this year? We had a fantastic Labor Day event, and a lot of it had been basically as a result of his ability bring those skill set that he had at Public Works in various ministries, pursuing his own academic pursuit, bring all of them together and to help us to do what was necessary to put on as successful events. Specifically in relation to the constituency, we have been able to put a team in place. We have been able to do a significant portion of the house-to-house canvassing, and that is in large measure due to his discipline, his commitment to the work, and therefore he worked from a program and a schedule and ensured that things are being done properly. He's punctual, and he attends meetings, gives his input, and I think all of us have become much impressed by the progress he has made. I mean, from a man who ought to have been a priest, or
I
could
know.
have, but yet considered other areas of service, I think it's a very remarkable feat that he has accomplished. I want to commend him. I believe he can do so much more if he puts his mind to it. And when he gets energized, we see that reflected through the reports that come back to the National Executive Meeting. And in fact, I've said to others, adopt the format that he brings to the meeting. Very clear, very precise, very concise, and to the point, and we can judge performance. So yes, I would say that he has performed very, very well, and I'm confident that he will continue to do so. What inspires him, and he said that earlier, and it touched me, was from his own upbringing and commitment, he always wanted to give. Here we have a man willing to give of himself, willing to sacrifice his own convenience, opportunity for personal advancement in service of a broader agenda. For now is to ensure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis get it right again. For now it's to ensure that the People's Labour Party continue its successful build-out, win this election, and build back the country again. And who has better skills to help us with the building? A man who all of his life has been fascinated by building, the opportunities, the challenges, and had worked in the various disciplines involved in that, at public works and in very many other areas, disaster management, and all of these things, and has a very good heart of compassion and a commitment to deep service.
Now, Calvin, Dr. Harris spoke about your work in various fields. Given your major national infrastructural projects, what lessons from them have shaped how you think about infrastructure planning today?
Well, I'll speak to three specific ones. One being the Boardwalk Athletic Stadium. In my view, that the construction of that facility brought an environment for healthy living, an environment that displayed social engagement, and an environment with the avenues for athletes to develop personally. A second one, I would say, the West Bastia Bypass Road. That road, I was the director when those were undertaken. West Bastia Bypass Road, it was an opportunity that brought a reduction in congestion in the Bastia area. For me, when prior to that being open, one might have taken 15 minutes to traverse from outside of Buckley's to, Newtown, or to get to the airport. Now, one will probably take 5 minutes because they have the bypass road. So it reduced congestion, time saving in relation to that, and effectively increase productivity of people. Less time to do something, so one ought to be more productive. And the next one is the Needmus power station, installation of a generator plant. I had been the government representative, the government officer for the installation of a major generator at the power station. That generator brought to the people of this country a more reliable and consistent energy supply. It has also allowed for growth in development. You have more capacity, so more infrastructure, hotels, and those type of things can come onto the green industry and that type of thing. But I would say I am most proud of the Boardwalk Athletic Stadium. The reason for that is that stadium allow the young people to have an avenue where they can sharpen and hone their skill. They allow people who want to pursue college level athletic training and education have that facility where they could be introduced to the right equipment and the right technique and then go on. In addition to that, it allowed for the local contractors and sub to have an opportunity to work on and to build out athletic track that was done here for the first time. So in my mind, that will give them the experience to be able to do that. And probably most importantly, with the availability of the athletic stadium, it allows the St. Kitts Amateur Athletic Association and in general this country to host regional athletics games. And it brought that sense and avenue of development, let the country be more known and financial benefit to the country and to the people. So that had, to me, all those components which speaks well for a developing country.
Having sat on the Development Control and Planning Board, how do you think the country should balance new development with protecting heritage sites and the environment?
Well, I think that when it comes to the protection of heritage sites due to development, that there needs to be specific laws and regulation that would govern the development and the issues in relation to how you approach heritage sites. One should maintain in those areas to keep a sense of space, a sense of form, maintain a sense of the architectural vernacular, a sense of scale, and a sense of purpose. One would not want that we have a heritage site, let's say for example, of Fort Thomas Hotel, and then one just, in my view, arbitrarily, just as it were, maybe have a onslaught of the whole facility without enough consultation from the public and persons who are involved with heritage sites and issues in relation to those. We all are aware what is happening, and those persons who have concerns, they, I believe, even up until today, they have not gotten good enough answer, the explanation as to what is happening, and why. We're just told that this thing is to be here and it is happening, whether it fits us, yes or not. And those type of behavior or display is not in keeping with the idea of good governance and transparency. So when it comes to how we approach heritage sites, there need to be broad cross-section stakeholders involvement, create policies and laws and regulation so that we can govern these activities in a much more sustainable and friendly way to this region.
No, your graduate thesis actually focused on adaptive reuse and historic prevention. Preservation, sorry. What does that kind of thinking matter? Why does that kind of thinking matter to a small island nation like St. Kitts and Nevis?
It matters based on some of the things that I would have said before. at that time, I would have looked at what we generally call or normally refer to as the Hanson Home in Sandy Point. I used that site, the heritage site, in my view, to address the issues of adaptive reuse on historic sites, and did the exploration and came up with the possible avenue and idea as to how one can address the development of the Hanson Home, the property that was once the Hanson Home, while respecting and maintaining the character and the vernacular and the feel and the purpose of what that type of space had been before.
You designed the Christina Disaster Monument, commemorating one of the darkest days in our nation's history. What did that mean to you?
Well, that meant a lot to me. That came about as a result of the party leader, Dr. Harris, giving a commitment in August of 2021, around when we celebrating the Christina disaster. And he then committed to the country that come next August 1st, we are going to have a Christina disaster monument where we can celebrate. It means to me a place where through architecture, when depicted in three dimensions, creates a space where one can enter into, one can touch it, one can feel it. It's a place where one would hope that memories are evoked, a place of reverence, and those sort of things. And the structure was completed late July 2022. And we all can remember that in August of 2022, the then Unity government lost office. And to me, and I would dare say probably to the entire country, it really should be, because it is something that people had been asking for years. We need something to commemorate all those, the survivors, the families of survivors, and the country as a whole, so that we can bring closure, so people can see something and go and have that reverence and respect. And it is a travesty to me that up until today, there has not been an official opening of that facility. And we all can accept, more than accept, agree that government is continuous. So even though you had a farm administration in your comment, it is something for the entire country. Go and do the right thing and have a opening and begin to have whether a small ceremony annually or whatever. Let interest group be able to go there and pay respect and reverence to those survivors and the family of those who would have lost in relation to this horrific episode that we experienced in 1970. So we are now approaching two things. We are approaching the 1st of August once more, maybe the opportunity to do something, and it falls squarely on the time when the present Jew government would be celebrating maybe 4 years. And maybe this should be an opportunity for them to give respect to the folks who would have lost their lives and to the families.
Dr. Harris, you've heard Mr. Pemberton talk through his career, his government experience, and the issues he spent his professional life working on. Having worked alongside him, what do you want the people to understand about the caliber of person serving Constituency 1 as chairman?
Thank you very much. I think people feel that he is a genuine person, that he's a man who has had an abundance of experience and exposure here and elsewhere, America, the United Kingdom, etc. And he chose to come back home to be of service. I think from the abundant display of his record in multiple areas of government, one can easily say he has been a performer. And I would want people to know that he is first and foremost a committed patriot. He's about the development and advancement of the country, and he has performed and fulfilled expectations in relation to that. So this is a decent person. This is someone you can trust. This is someone who will work hard for you. That has been his lived experience, foregoing opportunities for a bigger mission. And what bigger mission can you have than to make things right in the country of your birth? So I commend him to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis as one example of the kind of persons we are attracting to our party as we prepare ourselves for greater service. And I want to commend him for the way he has handled himself so far on the program and so far in service of our party, but more importantly, for having the kind of integrity, the kind of commitment to our country that is lacking now, in my view, in the current leadership. And I hope to God that he wouldn't change. I hope that he wouldn't change from being Calvin, a gentleman, full of respect for himself and for others, and always wanting to do what he has already been doing, give back to my country. And I recall that when we had those discussions about him, he never once queried the pay, although the pay then, at the time, was very unattractive, and because we never really even had the post of housing officer. It was something that we created, given some of the questions that the Caribbean Development Bank was asking if they were to become involved in a housing program. And he took it in good stride because his mission was service. And I commend him to all as a model in our country. And I thank him really because he had a choice. He had a choice, and he chose to be with the PLP because he saw the part in which we were on and are on remains to put St. Kitts and Nevis first.
Mr. Pemberton, I want to go a little bit closer to home and get a little bit more, a sense of who you are as a person. Now, outside of the buildings and the boardroom, who is Calvin at home? What do people who only know your work, what do they not know about you?
Well, what I would say that most people would not know that I'm a good cook. I cook very well. Gourmet style.
That's very shocking.
I would say I'm an excellent cook. That does not mean that I cook regularly. But I'm an excellent cook if I have to cook. So those are things. At home, I would say I operate maybe like quietly in my own way, like a quasi-historian of the home. I tend to listen to all the activities and the events and record them in my own way. And I will go out and ask questions, as to who was this and who is that and those type of things. I also like to collect old stuff. Some people would call it junk, but I call it antique. And I have the tendency of filling up my mother's home, where there's a garage and all over, with my antiques. And she would say, you need to get these junk out of here. Until they want the junk, or the antique, I will say, or some other friend, because people like to say, you collect these junk, but they're not junk to me.
They're of value.
Antiques. So I like to dabble into old stuff, buildings, and those type of things.
You were named Father of the Year at the St. George with St. Barnabas in 2024. What does fatherhood mean to you, and how does that shape how you lead?
Fatherhood means everything to me. It is something that I'm new at. Well, in terms of having a biological son, I have a son who is now 6 years old. But I have had young people under my watch for many years across the board, where in my view, in some fashion, I provided to them that type of father figure and leadership. Not that I was a father, I pretend to be that, but and give them some guidance and some structure. And so fatherhood means everything to me. A lot of them today have become many things, well, just about all of them. I have had, because I was in the Group Scout leader at St. George, at some point, based on my work, I was recognized by Rotary International, and I was named Scout of the Year in 1988, so that was an achievement. Those type of things are what is most important to me. So I had young boys who would have entered teaching, public service, doctors, lawyers, engineers, the whole 9 years across the board. I've even had 2 priests who had been under my watch. I had Reverend Wallins, to the Archdeacon Wallins, and Dean Cassius. I had them as Boy Scout there. I had people like Granville Brown, who was a lawyer, Garfield Alexander, a medical doctor, and Jason Hamilton. I have Tavu Sargent, who is a senior civil servant. Craig MacDonald is into music. Alice Prentice, Jason Amory, and the list goes on and on and on. So I believe that I would have impacted their life in some way or fashion. Up until today, they don't pass me anyway. We always, and most recently, I came across one, maybe about not a year ago, the young man at CBI, Calvin St. Just. He was also one of my Boy Scouts. And most of them were smart kids.
Okay. Dr. Harris, what role do you see Calvin continuing to play in St. Kitts and Nevis's development going forward?
I think there is no limit. I mean, from that track record of excellence and of service, there really is no limit for that. I would want to see him operating at even higher levels in a government. Because I think he has a role to play, a constructive one. We have seen a pathway that involves being of service to our young people, being a role model, being an example. We have seen him at work in terms of the physical, infrastructural development of our country, managing a department that had a budget larger than a number of other ministries within the government. So he comes with such a breadth of experience. He would be of tremendous value to our government and our country. And so I really see no limit in where he can reach, and whatever I can do to advance that, I certainly will do that. And that is part of the mission, really, of the PLP, to find good people, excellent people. I often use the word patriot with specific meaning on that, because we want people who are prepared to put their country first. And in him we have found someone who has been steep in doing service without expecting anything in return other than the fulfillment and satisfaction of knowing that he has done a good job.
Okay. Mr. Pemberton, we are practically out of time, but what is it you would like our listeners to most remember about your appearance here on The People's Choice?
Thank you, Jamie, for the invitation and your warm welcome. I would wish that your audience remember that here is someone who has been in public service for all of his life and who is at this point in time willing to continue on that path and to serve this country that I love in whatever capacity that is offered me.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Harris. Any final words?
Final word. One, I want to extend sympathies to those of the Guyanese community here and everywhere really who are undergoing the mourning with respect to the tragic development and in their waters and the loss of life. And I know at least one family, I think in the West Bass there, who is linked to one of the deceased. So our prayers remain with them. It means that tragedy touched home in a very deep way. I also want, on a more uplifting note really, to commend the Defense Force. They are celebrating their 29th, I think, anniversary of service, not just in security, search and rescue operations and all the multiplicity of things such a organization does. I want to commend them and their celebration and to say we want good things for them. We know all is not well there, and we commit to have a proper examination and to help to advance the Defense Force as a model organization in the law enforcement broadly. And finally, I just want to serve notice that on Thursday, the 6th August and the 8th August, the People's Labour Party will be hosting its convention. The Thursday, the 6th of August, and Saturday, the 8th August, we will be hosting our convention on the two basic sessions. The first and the Thursday is a private session, and the public session will be Saturday, and we will be in East Bass there. So come out, be part of it, and be part of the progressive move of our party to reclaim government. And secondly, I could announce that we had earlier this year announced and led the way in the democratization of our candidate selection by publicly inviting interested parties to basically come forward and to indicate. And then that process has now officially closed, and we have begun and completed our candidate screening process. There are one or two I's to dot and T's to be crossed. The PLP then has examined candidates for all 8 constituencies.
Are you going to announce them today?
Someday.
I had to ask.
But I want to thank all those who came forward. We had an interesting combination of persons who have come forward to serve the country in this particular way, and I want to thank them. And I want to thank those in the executive for their patience and for helping us to chart this precedent-setting approach to candidates. We didn't hustle. We took our time, we observed, and we believe that the moment is now right for us to do what is needed. So I want to thank all of our supporters. When we started, some in opposition to us say, well, they ain't got no candidate, you ain't see they are looking. Now I'm hearing even those who should have had are now looking. It is good to be a pioneer in that regard. So our house is basically in order in relation to that. And finally, because of Calvin's own commitment to God, which all of us should be, and to church life, I think it is this Sunday we should be going to the Anglican Church, top of course, Church Street, to worship. I don't know if Calvin will preach on that day. No. He says no. But that is his own church in terms of connection. And I'm happy that we will be going there, not just in tribute to him, really, because it was a national executive decision that we wanted to have a pre-convention event and post-convention events. And the pre-convention would be right there in the center of town. So thanks again for the opportunity to be here. And again, deeply appreciative. I want to thank Calvin for coming forward and give him the opportunity to close because he has dominated. But I want to congratulate him. I think his first engagement here has been quite good and effective.
Yes. So this concludes another edition of The People's Choice right here on Freedom FM. Our sincere thanks to Dr. Harris and our special guest, Mr. Pemberton, for joining us and sharing their insights and experience. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Join us next week for another edition of The People's Choice.
So, it's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice. Yeah, for the people, by the people, by the people, by the people. Every Tuesday, the choice of the people leading the way. For the people, by the people, by the people, by the people. Loud and clear, the people's choice every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Freedom FM is here. It's time to talk. It's time to listen. It's time for the people's choice.